Mocktail History. I'm Stephanie Kibler, the director here at the Freeborn County Historical Museum, Library, and Village, with Risha Lilienthal, who coordinates all of our exhibits and collections here at the museum and village. If you can't guess, today we're featuring the Shirley Temple. We're going wholesome. Mocktail Day.
Right.
Which there are a lot of mocktails out there. It was really kind of fun when you start looking. So we'll have to throw one of these in every once in a while.
Yeah, it's fun. They taste good too, usually. So
the reason we picked the Shirley was because we made homemade grenadine last week, and didn't want to just make it and toss it. It was so good and so easy.
And Shirley Temple does have a tie to Freeborn County, which we'll get to.
A loose tie.
Yes, it's a stretch, but she's there.
we can verify that. So for those of you who don't know, which I'm not sure who that would be, because these are in every dine-in restaurant just about everywhere.
Actually, every wedding.
Yeah, every wedding. The Shirley Temple is a non-alcoholic mixed drink, traditionally with ginger ale and splash of lime and grenadine. That's the old school historic recipe. A lot of times now people use 7-Up. So when I went shopping,
That's what you grabbed.
I grabbed that, and I thought, and then I started, realizing, well, wait a minute, it's supposed to be ginger ale, which I wanted a really good ginger ale for this. So we actually have a ginger beer, which is non-alcoholic. The only difference between ginger beer and ginger ale is a few more spice. It's a little spicier.
It's got a bit more of a bite
Little
to it.
bite. So it actually might even be a better adult mocktail
Oh, sure.
with that. I love ginger beer.
It's good. I can drink it straight.
And most people think it's got alcohol in it.
Nope.
But
I
it
thought
doesn't.
it did too, but no,
Does
you're right.
not. I thought this was kind of yucky because sometimes people make it with orange juice, which
Really?
I don't know how.
Well, we had the grenadine with oranges last.
Yes, but that's the Shirley Temple.
Yeah, that's not a Shirley Temple.
no.
That's something else. Yeah.
No. I did think it was kind of interesting too, because you can order a Shirley Temple with a little vodka in it, and it's called a Dirty Shirley. Or you can order it with dark rum, and it's called a Shirley Temple Black,
I like her name.
which is her name.
Aw.
Yes, her married name.
That's sweet.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of a fun little.
Yeah.
And there is some controversy about. We say this almost every other time. Controversy about who created the drink.
Oh, of course. Who patented it? Who was the originator?
Yeah. Temple has on several occasions said it was the Brown Derby, which was the place if you were a Hollywood celeb to be seen back in the day. Now, I'm trying to remember, somewhere in my notes here I have that there's a controversy around it. I want to say Cassins. Did you look that up?
No, I didn't.
Well, maybe that's just down the road, and we'll get to that as
Sure.
we go. She also didn't like her drink.
Really?
I'm going to quote her here. The saccharine, sweet, icky drink. Yes, well, those are created in probably mid-1930s by the Brown Derby restaurant in Hollywood. I had nothing to do with it. But all over the world, I am served that.
Aww.
People think it's funny. I hate them. Too sweet.
It's kind of sad.
It is. So Shirley Temple didn't like the Shirley Temple, and there was actually a movement, or call it a movement. There was a bottling company had a plan to bottle it and sell it. So she actually was in 2 lawsuits to prevent that from happening, because she did not want her name on a can of Shirley Temple soda. I would say.
I mean, if she didn't like it, why would you want?
Right, if she didn't like it, why would you want it?
I mean, she's been marketed her whole life too, She
well,
could pull
and
that off
probably knows how to market herself, how
Yeah.
or learned at an early age how she wanted to be
Presented. Yeah.
And in '88, this was after she had done
being
ambassador
Yeah.
and several boards that she had served on. So yeah, you could see where she maybe didn't want to be the celebrity on a can.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's mix a
Yeah.
couple.
Okay.
So we're starting with ice in our glasses, and it did say to fill a Collins glass with cubed ice.
Oh.
I don't have those. They're about the same size. They're just taller.
Oh, okay.
So I thought these would work.
Sure.
The stemless champagne flutes, I guess is really what they are. And then we add 1/2 ounce of grenadine to each.
This one?
Yeah, to each glass.
Oh
That's a stretch. I'm gonna pull this way just in
my. I
case.
don't want to hit.
We don't
those,
want to
yeah.
hit our girls over there, our little Shirleys.
How did you do this?
That's hard to pour out of there. I meant to.
Oh.
Well, how did you do that? You're trying to be fancy.
I know. I saw somebody hold it like this last time.
I am gonna say, so I knew Risha was gonna fancy up for this. I knew she'd curl her hair, and I knew she'd dress like flouncy.
And they have stars on it because we got star power today.
And so knowing this, I straightened my hair instead of going with curl, and I just went with plain old history shirt, so that we weren't competing.
Oh.
I didn't want to. I didn't
Didn't
want to
wanna
take your
overshadow
shine.
me. Yes,
Exactly. Really not true, but. And then we add 1/4 ounce of lime juice.
Okay.
Freshly squeezed would be preferred, but we've got roses, so that's what we're gonna go
This is nice.
with.
How do we do?
I
quarter?
would
just do
just
half.
kind of do half of that. Yeah.
What? Almost had a cap in a
Almost.
drink.
That would be the oops for the day. Oh my gosh, you're just silly. I just realized too that we want
Ooh, cherries?
cherries. I didn't have the cherries out. And then we top that off. It says 5 ounces of ginger ale, which would easily work in a Tom Collins. We're probably pretty close there, I think. So you can top that off with the ginger beer.
Just kind of fill it up.
Yeah. I'd say well, leave enough for a cherry to plop in. Gosh, that's really pretty as that goes.
It is. Probably should have like angled it. I'm gonna get yelled at by some people who know how
No, I never angle. You don't angle for a soda. There, like to there is
to.
good.
Okay. Should I do the other one?
This is, I don't know if it shows up as pretty on the video,
It's so pretty.
but it is really a pretty little beverage here. This is one of my it's my granddaughter's favorite, although she doesn't order them every place we go. But when we go to Burrow, they, and we sit on their patio, then she'll get one, and they actually do the really nice cherries. It's not the maraschino, it's homemade grenadine there. And so my daughter a lot of times just orders the Shirley Temple.
Very nice.
Yeah, so this is beautiful, you guys.
I love it. Is it are we supposed to mix it, or is it just supposed to sit like that?
Let's read our directions. No, it doesn't say.
That's
I'm
pretty
gonna
good.
guess the first sip it mixes. These glasses are iridescent also, so it really gives it a good purple. All right, so cheers, let's
Cheers.
try it. Well, I lied. Here, we're gonna mix them up.
Yeah, because all I got was the ginger beer.
All I got was the ginger beer. Now you lost your cherry though.
Oh, yours is down there too.
All right, we'll try that again. Oh, that's really good.
Yeah,
I do like that better with the ginger flavor.
that's really good.
So I think we both agree, go the traditional, use ginger ale.
Ginger beer is
Or
fun with
ginger beer is fun with it. Kids may not,
may not like it with that much bite.
Yeah, they
No.
may prefer the 7-Up, but if you as an adult are gonna try this at home, I would recommend that ginger beer or ginger ale.
Yeah,
That's very good.
it is.
And like I said, we did make our own grenadine, super simple, so we'll put that recipe back up again too. You could actually do that with kids because you're supposed to sit there and stir the pot. And
That's
you
something
have
easy for a kid to
yeah,
just sit
just
and
let
do,
them sit and
occupy.
stir.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would work. I was fascinated by Shirley Temple in high school
That's right, you were saying that.
because of her ambassadorship, and I'd watched her movies, but then to find that she was a diplomat.
Yeah.
Starting in 1969, she was appointed to represent the U.S. at a session of the United Nations General Assembly. She worked at the U.S. Mission, and I'm sure I just watched a documentary that she was quite outspoken.
Oh.
She didn't
She didn't hold back.
Yeah. She made sure her voice was heard, which is probably something for women at that age, in that era. And then was also the ambassador to Ghana and Czechoslovakia, which I don't think Czechoslovakia is even a country anymore.
No, that's been disbanded, I guess.
Yeah.
Into different.
Well, did it merge?
Isn't it? Is it the Czech Republic now?
I think you might be right.
Yeah. I don't know though. Don't quote me.
Might be right.
Yeah, but I know growing up, that was Shirley Temple was a group of movies that I would watch at my grandma's all the time. I loved those movies. Bright Eyes is my favorite one. But my mama, growing up, when she was little, my grandma curled her hair, and she had very blonde hair, and she sang On the Good Ship Lollipop. I think it was for like a little talent show thing.
Maybe she'd do that for us when she's here next time.
Oh, she wouldn't.
Oh.
She's shy. She has a lovely voice, but she's shy.
Your mother?
Yes. If you asked her to sing, she wouldn't do it.
Your grandma's not shy.
Oh, no. My grandma's not shy at all. She knows that.
Just thought maybe that ran in a family. Well, skip
a generation.
Skip a generation. That's funny. Your mom's gonna be like, what? Did you know that Shirley Temple ran for Congress?
I did not know that.
Ran for Congress in 1967. And that's when she was appointed by Henry Kissinger, who overheard her talking about Southwest Africa at a party. This kind of stuck in my craw a little bit.
Okay.
He was surprised that she knew anything about it. But he was wise enough to recognize he should appoint her.
Okay, well,
So-
I mean, that's a compliment with a sting.
Yeah, a little bit, right? A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
She was one in 7th grade. We were the Mavericks in 7th grade in middle school. And that was the first speech I was ever asked to give, was we had to pick a Maverick. And I picked Shirley Temple. And I learned about her being an ambassador, and that was a really cool thing. So I was like at a young age amazed by her, and she also had breast cancer and went through that.
and was vocal about it at
Yes.
the time, which was not
common at all.
not common at all. I thought that was interesting. She held a news conference in her hospital room after her mastectomy to discuss her experience and urge women who find lumps not to sit at home and be afraid. That was a quote, not to sit home and be afraid. So she gets credited often for making it okay to talk about breast cancer, which for my family is incredibly important. My mother was a victim, my niece is a survivor, my sister is on about 3. So it's a huge, that to me, when I read that, I was like, oh, one more reason to love Shirley.
Right?
Yeah. The other place where she was kind of a maverick, I thought this was interesting. She, in 1933, was being paid $150 a week. And her mom...
She was 5 years old.
Her mom was being paid $25 a week to be her hairdresser and coach. So then it broke it down. So If that was 2019,
Mm-hmm.
it would have been $2,960 a week for a 5-year-old. But it was during the Great Depression.
Yeah.
So if you pull that equation out, it would actually come to $18,500 a week today.
Wow.
Is that crazy?
Oh my gosh. I know she was a very bright light in the Depression for many people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even, I think even beyond that, I mean, her movies carried, you'll still see them on
Oh yeah. Just on
TV once in a while. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She also had the purchasing power. Today, her purchasing power would have been $1.85 million. Is that crazy?
Yeah.
So she really was I mean, if you talk about being a maverick, she really was.
prominent.
Yeah. It's really kind of
Yeah.
she's kind of an amazing woman.
Mm-hmm.
I found her very fascinating. And I found things as we were going through that I hadn't heard before. This one was kind of funny, you guys. I don't know how she came up with this number, but she sat on 200 famous laps and found J. Edgar Hoover's the most comfortable.
Oh my god.
Amelia Earhart shared chewing gum with her. And she had a conversation with Eleanor Roosevelt, who I absolutely love.
Oh my god.
Great documentary on PBS right now about Eleanor
I
Roosevelt.
need to watch it.
Fantastic. So, yeah. But how do you come up with, I sat on 200 laps?
Right? You
And-
should count each one.
J. Edgar Hoover's was the most comfortable.
I
That's.
guess. What made it comfortable?
I'm wondering if he's pillow-like. I was going to look up a picture of him because it seems to me he's kind of a heavy man.
Mm,
Not a big man, but he had a little
little weight to it.
plump to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I can keep going.
Well, I mean, sure.
I know you got something to say.
I do, because I mean, we aren't the only ones who are fascinated by
right?
her. I have this book here that some people may already know. It's My Days by Marion Ross, which is, she says, My Days, Happy and Otherwise. And she grew up here in Albert Lee. She's our star, one of our stars here. And she was Mrs. Cunningham on Happy Days, if you didn't know that. But
And she's Grandma Harriet on
on
SpongeBob SquarePants.
Mm-hmm. She's also the grandma on Gilmore Girls.
Yes, that's
Mhm.
right.
And she has many other roles.
Mhm.
But she's actually, Shirley Temple is 6 months older than Marion Ross.
Oh,
They were
wow.
born in the same year. And
They
so,
were.
yeah.
We're working on the timeline. I didn't
Uh-huh.
pick up on that.
Mhm.
They were.
yeah. So Shirley Temple movies were some of Marion Ross's first introduction to entertainment and just acting and stuff. And one of the things, I'm going to read what she said about it. She said, Shirley Temple had her losing sleep over how she was doing nothing to forward her dream in acting.
Oh my goodness.
Because, you know, they were both 3 years old and Shirley Temple's already in movies.
Yes.
And during the Depression, 1929 to 1939, at one point, Marion Ross and her siblings were sick with colds, and so they were coughing and sniveling, and her dad went to the store, a local store, to get cough medicine. But when he was there, there was a big raffle, and the grand prize was a Shirley Temple doll, one that would have looked much like this one over here. And so he purchased a key, and he went up to try to see if that key was the one that unlocked. And it was!
Isn't that fun?
Yeah. So she said the Shirley Temple doll became a fixture in their home.
Mhm.
And what did she say? It was a constant reminder to her that time was passing without even taking that first step
Oh.
towards her acting career.
Oh.
So it was like a driving force too. You know,
Sure.
she wanted to get there, and Shirley Temple was an inspiration.
So, two things to that.
Mhm.
I want us to do a key drawing because I just think that would be so much
fun.
fun. So, that's kind of in the back of our minds here,
mhm.
which would be super fun.
Mm-hmm.
But about the time Marion Ross headed to Minneapolis is where she started her acting school, right?
Yes, well, she did her first play here in Albert Lee.
Yes.
And then she went to Minneapolis at the end of high school before she graduated to go to an acting school.
Which is, that to me, at that age, you're pretty young. I think back when I was that age, I don't know that I would have had the conviction to say,
Sure.
I'm
To
going to do
leave your family, go,
Yeah. I did find a little blurb from Shirley Temple's, not so much an obituary, but kind of a tribute article, I guess, that said she was a strong-willed, chain-smoking 17-year-old,
Wow.
determined to be the first in her Westlake class to become engaged. She had accepted a ring from 24-year-old Army Air Corps Sergeant John Agar Jr. a few days before her 17th birthday.
Wow.
And they were married in 1945, divorced shortly thereafter because he could not handle being Mr. Shirley Temple, which actually worked out fine. They were divorced in 1949, and less than 60 days after her divorce, at 21, became engaged to Mr. Black, who was a 30-year-old assistant to the president of the Hawaiian Pineapple Company.
Wow.
And he claimed to have never seen a Shirley Temple movie. So
Maybe that's why she liked him.
they had a 12-day courtship and they got married.
Oh my gosh.
Is that crazy?
Yeah.
And they were married for 55
Well,
years.
And see, I know people like that who knew each other for less than a week and married and have been married for years and years and years. Yeah.
So she definitely,
Connected.
well, and she definitely, I guess, knew what she wanted.
Yeah.
But I really did like the strong-willed, chain-smoking 17-year-old.
Oh my gosh.
Which seems out of character for the Shirley
Right,
Temple that we,
You wouldn't think of that.
or Shirley Temple Black, yeah.
Mhm. But a little bit back on Marion Ross.
Sorry.
No worries. All interesting. And she had always wanted to meet Shirley Temple then, and she actually got to meet her. In 1999, they were in the same parade. Shirley Temple was the Grand Marshal, and Marion Ross was on a float of TV moms.
Okay.
And before they even started the parade, somebody asked Marion Ross if she wanted to meet Shirley Temple. And she's like, yes. And they bring her up to her, and Marion Ross opens her arms to give her a hug. And Shirley Temple said, no, you're going to mess me up. You know, she was all done up and stuff. And Marion Ross said it felt like she was like dropping in an elevator. She just like blood fell out and like just backed up. And then she thought, this woman has been pawed her whole life. Of course she doesn't want somebody to come up and just give her like a random hug. And so she said she backed away, understanding, but like almost in tears.
Because Marion's a hugger also.
Oh, yes. She loves physical attention. Yes. But then her publishing, not publishing, I don't know, somebody who was helpful to Marion Ross.
Her assistant or her agent?
Yeah, something like that. He went up and was talking to Shirley Temple, and Shirley Temple then pointed to Marion Ross and said, was she Mrs. C on Happy Days?
Oh, funny.
And then he said yes, and so they had a reintroduction.
Okay.
Because she recognized her, and so she's like, I got to meet Shirley Temple, and she knew who I was.
And
you know?
Shirley Temple probably said, I got to meet Mrs. Cunningham.
All right.
That's really funny. Oh, that's Marion Ross. You know, when I say that she's a hugger, I guess I don't know this personally, but the people that she has met here at the museum talk very fondly of her.
Yes.
And well, all of Albert Lee does. The statue that's being done, which is they're hoping to unveil this summer, which is exciting. Our dress that we have on exhibit is going to be used as the dress for the sculpture, which is exciting. So, but yeah, Marion Ross definitely is well loved and has wrapped her arms around this community. So that's why I say she's a hugger.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You do have some paper dolls there
I
too.
do. Yes, we have this here. This came from the Toy and Doll Museum. That was here in Albert Lee. You know, there's paper dolls. You can see they're super fun. Yeah.
I wish we still had paper dolls. Have kind of gone by the wayside.
You and I have talked about that, where we both grew up with paper dolls.
Love
We just
paper
loved
dolls.
them. Yeah.
Maybe we should do a paper doll sheet in our. Maybe we should do a Wilma paper doll sheet in our next newsletter.
Yes, that would be so fun.
Oh, that could be fun. Well, stay tuned, folks. We may have a little. For those of you who don't know, Wilma. Wilma is our woolly mammoth.
Yes.
Hollandale area especially is known for mammoth finds, bones,
Archaeological
thank you.
items.
And so we've got a tusk and
We
several
have vertebra and
Yeah.
ribs of mammoth.
right and tooth.
Yeah.
And so when we were looking for a mascot, we picked Wilma, and she's kind of pops up around the museum where there's a kid activity, things like that. Our archaeology is
It's coming together.
having some changes and
Yes.
some updates, and
I'm really excited. We just got this kind of tie kind of tape that our mammoth tusk we have has had wire around it, but the archaeological practice that is actually not good for the tusk because wire is stronger than that tusk, and so if anything were to somehow accidentally happen to it, the wire would end up hurting the tusk instead of helping it stay together like it's supposed to. So we just got a new tie that we're gonna go and put that on it so that we can preserve
safer.
that
Yeah.
nicer. Yeah.
But we should add that it was common practice
At
back
the
at
time.
the time,
Yep.
in the time we got this, that
Right.
it would have been wrapped in wire. So yeah, so that's just one of the updates. We did have some volunteers that updated our
The case.
case. So our case, you would have to get up and lean over it while they put a plexiglass on the front so you can actually see right in.
into it.
It's wonderful.
That's so good.
Go volunteers. We are volunteer driven. Anyway,
Yeah. I mean, we could probably both go on and on about Shirley Temple Black.
and Marion Ross,
Yeah.
and then it all kind of trickles. This is what's interesting. It all kind of, we start a conversation or we do a little research, and we research differently. So we find tidbits, and then all of a sudden we're talking about archaeology. How we went from Shirley Temple to archaeology and mammoth tusks. This is the
That's
day.
our popcorn history.
Popcorn history, which hopefully people will be hearing on the radio here in a couple weeks as we
Start a podcast.
yeah, which is exciting. So anyway, this is fantastic. I really like this.
Yes.
This would be great with pizza.
It would. It would. I mean, almost anything goes well with pizza, though.
This is, yeah, this is true. Anyway, cheers, everybody. We recommend this. We'll see you next week.